Crouch. Bind. Set.
Joe presents the House of Rugby, together with Guinness.
Hello and welcome to a new edition of House of Rugby, brought to you by Joe, together with our very good friends at Guinness. I'm currently trying to get my heart rate back down to around about anything under 160. The Lord has made me run. High knees, good sprinting action from the tube.
Tap the floor, yeah.
Something like that. How are we both? Tom May is back. Good first impression means you get a second bite.
Thanks very much.
It's nice to have you back in the saddle.
Yeah.
We're going to talk rugger this week, which is why we've subbed Hask out and brought in someone who actually knows
Well, let's be honest.
about the game.
Thinking he can advance his career at the National TV Awards.
So Hask is at the National Television Awards this evening. Last night he was at
basically hanging on to Roman's.
He was, isn't he? Yeah, there was a lot of cuddling action.
I'm here.
Last night he was at the British Takeaway Awards. Tomorrow someone else is opening another envelope somewhere else, and Hask will be.
I can imagine
getting himself into shot.
takeaways, right?
Yeah, he's an absolute guru when it comes to ordering from Deliveroo. Other delivery teams are available. How are you? You're a little bit sort of grumbly today.
I have a slight chest infection.
Right.
Yeah.
Has that cleared the airwaves? There's quite a lot of chat about the.
The airways have always been right. It's just a little bit in the.
Sorry, say that again. Just say that bit again for all the viewers.
Throaty.
It's throaty, right? Good. You are feeling a bit. Yes, as producer Sai just said, he's feeling a bit hoarse.
And that's why.
And then he's laughed at himself. That's why he's way out west. So Hask isn't here, which means we can actually get stuck into some rugby, which is very nice. This is our Six Nations preview. Hold on tight, strap yourselves in. We are going to get to all things rugby in a moment or two, but we've actually got one of England's Red Roses joining us as well tonight. The unbelievably talented Jess Breach is going to come and have a chat about the Women's Six Nations. Before we do that, Kobe Bryant.
Oh no. Tragic.
Do you know, I've never watched basketball. I've never really sort of done the stateside sport, and I was really upset by it.
Yeah, no one wants to see someone that iconic. I was watching videos this week of them, because obviously he grew up with Jordan, and they like mimicked all their moves together, and obviously that he's learnt and sort of carried that baton and legacy of what he did with the Lakers and everything. And it's tragic, and even to make it more, having one of his daughters on there as well, and obviously leaving 3 daughters behind. It's thoughts with his family for sure.
Absolutely, we'd certainly echo that. I mean, just one of the icons, just one of the great icons of our youth and sporting viewing.
None of us are invincible. You never think icons like that it'll ever happen to someone like that, and you just think it actually. Well, you can tell what an impact he's had on world sport by just the general reaction, can't you? Yeah. I didn't watch a huge amount of basketball, but you knew exactly who he was and what he'd done for not only basketball but sport on a whole. So, tragic loss. Very, very sad.
Other bits in the news, moving from something very sad to something which has entertained me hugely recently. Series 3 of The Crown. Is your mother-in-law pleased with her portrayal?
I haven't actually watched it.
Have you not?
The first 2. I haven't.
Has Zed watched it?
Started watching the 3rd one yet. No, but
Zoe hasn't cracked the popcorn.
Not yet. But I am getting more and more feedback that I should watch it.
Really?
So I'm definitely.
It's very good.
I'm just going to binge it, I think.
Yeah, do that. Would she watch that? Your mother-in-law? Would she be entertained or amused by it, or has she got far better things to be doing?
I will ask.
Do. Can we have an update on that next week, please? Should we dip back into Saracens, because they are the gift that keeps on giving? Ed Griffiths, he came. He didn't quite conquer. He went.
What were the days?
That was 24 hours of.
Can't be much more than a week.
It's been a week, isn't it? I mean, you sort of think that they've reached the bottom, and then they sort of find a way to dig even deeper.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's been managed that well.
No. What was the purpose of him coming in and B leaving again?
Well, I think the detail is probably to be refined, but there's been this big expose or this story around his dealings when he was in the cricketing world. Cricket agent, but he wasn't a cricket agent. He was working for Middlesex, and I don't know the detail of it.
Grey area.
Yeah, exactly. There seem to be a lot of grey areas right now. 50 Shades of. What I did want to ask you about though is you've actually. Am I right? I think you did some business with Nigel Ray back in the day. It's quite. We do need to say you've toured in terms of clubs, but you never actually played for Saracens. So this isn't.
No, I mean they were desperate to get hold of me, but they never did.
I can only imagine.
He invested in a company that I started while I was playing rugby. Yeah, and was brilliant. He was all out to help. I set it up with Carl Heyman,
What was the company? How did you get it to Nigel?
So it was a rugby-based business that was all about helping grassroots rugby and those grassroots clubs grow and manage themselves as small businesses as opposed to sort of voluntary run businesses.
Right.
But he loved the idea and got involved. So I've experienced how he tries to help players. I think when it's a bit closer to home, like the club that he was looking after, I think that's probably slightly different.
Does that mean you have sympathy for the scenario Saracens are in, or do you think that the misunderstanding is in fact a sort of...
No, I do to an extent, because I've spoken to guys that players and coaches, and I know that they've got massive positive opinion towards Nigel Ray and the love that he has, not only for the club but the players within it and what he would do to help them. But there comes a point where, we heard from Chris Ashton that he didn't know he was doing something wrong. Surely the guys running the club need to know exactly.
Well, look, I think that the biggest thing, I've always said that I liked how Nigel tried to look after his players. I don't see there being a massive, if you listen to Ashy's story, he was 2 years into a 4-year contract. He wanted to buy a house and settle down. He thought he was going to stay there for a long period. Entered into an agreement with him. They both went half and half on the deposit. Then he took on the mortgage, and he had a share in there. But where it falls under complete lack of sort of ticking boxes, why you wouldn't think there should be someone go, well, let's just check that, or let's run it through. Can we do that? Yeah. Can we explain the full transaction and do everything? Because I think, as I said, I think Nigel has always had his players' best interests at heart, and the investigation said that they didn't purposely do it. So then, where do you sit? Do you sit and push it under the carpet? I don't know. Well, obviously they're going to get relegated, but all you've done by relegating him is probably really fire them up to win the Champions League, Champions Cup, because they don't have,
Championship comes next year.
Yes. They don't have to. They don't have to play any of their big stars. It'll be like Leinster's players in Ireland when they're playing for Ireland.
Yeah,
he just doesn't need to play them for any matches. Like everyone's like, oh, it's a really bad week for them getting kicked when they got Harlequins. They're like, are they bothered?
Yeah,
they'll come back.
They look quite bothered. Jackson Ray looked fairly bothered.
I've never seen that before.
No,
I've never seen a referee going, "I'm not. You're not captain anymore."
Moving the captains,
moving him away.
Yeah.
So, but I think I think that week they'd have wanted a response because of just the nature of the week.
Yeah.
But I think they'll just rest all their players. Come Leinster, they'll have 23 literally chomping at the bit players to go out there and try and do a job in. And if they do that, who's going to say that they wouldn't go all the way?
Quick couple of stories around rugby league. Israel fell out to Catalan Dragons. Any interest?
Done.
No. Warrington Wolves of Super League have stuck their hand up and said they'd be keen to bring in a relegated Saracens player to join Luther Burrell. Could you see that? That's just sort of that's trying to tag onto a story.
That's just trying to
over here.
Yeah.
Media. Hey,
look at me. How can we get something out of this?
I'd be impressed.
Look, we discussed this. They won't lose that many players next year.
No, I agree.
Well, if you look at that report as well, and I'm obviously paraphrasing, if you look at the actual when they were over, 1 year it was all down to what they valued, what PwC valued Maro Itoje's image rights at, and then the other one were the three houses that they helped.
Yeah.
So then, is it some that are they going to? Everyone's obviously got a contract within that they're happy with. Are they then going to leave?
Keep on keeping on.
Know. Well, we'll see.
Kyle,
I think there's still a fair bit to play out on that, or not?
Yeah. Although just knew there's going to be bombs coming out left, right, and
I also think it might filter beyond Saris.
Well,
because I think now
that
there's a very strong scent, and there are a lot of people out hunting, and I think
disappearing back.
I think there are a lot of people, using their shredder at night, kind of thing. Kyle Sinclair to Bristol.
Oh. Look, I'm a back. I don't necessarily have many crushes over forwards, but he is my prop crush.
Yeah.
He's just class, isn't he?
Used to be a centre. So,
you've done really well on proper crush. Si? For you, pal.
I was laughing to myself again. Brilliant for Bristol. Tough for Quins. Just the name of the game now?
No, I was thinking about
Quins have suffered in a way that Saris
we're looking at ways not to. About this today. I was almost like, if it is going to be that strict now with and hopefully it is. You've either got to make everyone's salary public so that everyone knows. I mean, I would, if it's for the good of the game, I wouldn't mind, and then you just know where the money's going.
But making them all public,
but
is that not necessarily going to drive it all up?
Us.
Oh, okay, but within
that can.
But to the eyes that need
quite fun to have a look at that, though.
Yeah. The eyes that need to be. The problem is with it.
How are you on that?
This day and age, someone will leak it. But I think because I think agents have a huge role to play in this.
Yeah,
I think they're always basically greasing their own pocket. I don't think they're necessarily good for the game when there is a salary cap.
Yeah.
If there isn't a salary cap and it's free trade and you can go earn whatever you want, then fine, you can go earn your money. But some of the stuff you hear about football and are they actually acting in the best interest of the player? Like, did Harlequins go, look, if they're offering you that, we just can't match it, and then you've got to go. It's your choice. I mean, I've always known that when the one time I moved a club, I could have stayed for less money because that's generally what you do. If you want more money, you move clubs. Yeah. Unless you're having a huge, you've been an academy player for so long and you've just jumped up to England and then you're expecting something. But then, I think it's harsh on Harlequins, but at the end of the day, it's what it is, isn't it?
He's been very transparent around salary cap, Pat Lamb, but they're spending their pennies, aren't they?
Best money's got
Randrandra.
Big Semi.
Yeah.
You got to
keep that in.
He didn't laugh at that one.
Producer side, no, he's still laughing at the earlier one.
His own one.
Horse. Big Semi, now Big Kyle, and I mean they are building a proper squad, aren't they?
Yeah.
Biggest attendance in the league.
It doesn't matter. You pay Semi obscene amount of money. Charles Piateau is still on
obscene amount of money,
but they're out of the salary cap, so they can pay them whatever you want. Then 500,000 is not that bad for an international world class prop.
Vern Cotter, new coach of Fiji.
Has he rung our mate?
Who's our mate?
Has he rung Sevens coach?
Oh, Ben Ryan.
Ben Ryan, yeah.
Probably. God, Jesus, yes.
Surely you need.
Yes.
You've got to
go and wash his hair under Ben's waterfall.
I mean, if you can actually influence those guys, that must be a dream job.
Yeah.
Like, look at the players that you can get your mitts on.
Yeah, but the opportunity to do stuff with them is really limited. Yeah, unless there's a sort of play coming.
Yeah.
I thought it fascinating with Ben Ryan and how he could just play mind games with them and just tease to get better things out of them and make. But you're talking about making 10-15% difference without having to do anything. Things we take for the norm. Yeah. So I think
like Jim and Kit.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating move because you imagine, particularly in the Premiership, there'd be a lot of people who'd have said, "Vern, can we have a chat right now?" There are a lot of clubs swimming around in that middle pond kind of thing.
Well, especially going where he's come from, or where he's going from, Montpellier.
I mean, he must be on mega whack. I'm not quite sure that.
Probably just sees it as a sabbatical.
Do you think possibly? Fascinating.
The sun.
What they've paid him off is I'm just going to go a year in the sun.
Unbelievable. I'm going to follow that with great interest. Anything else that's caught your eye this week? You've brought lots of notes, both of you, which is a novelty for this show.
About the Six Nations, though, isn't it?
It's not.
This is.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah. Should we move on to Six Nations?
Might as well.
Coming up, we're going to ask around the Six Nations whether Wales can repeat the feat. We're going to pick the can't miss games. Ask what's up with Finn Russell at the moment. He's currently in Dubai, I think. He's taken his punishment very well. We're going to reveal our Guinness Match Point Predictor game that we would love you to get involved in. We've got all sorts of competitions as well for you to join us on. And we've also got a live show to tell you about next week. So hopefully you'll dig in for some tickets on the Facebook page. Six Nations, favourite game you ever played in?
Nowhere.
Grand Slam, Dublin, 2003. You had quite long hair in those days.
It was a long time ago.
Quite a flop. Yes, you did.
That was the end of it. That was the year I shaved it off.
Was it really?
Yeah. I lost the game of darts to Bolsh.
What? And that was
the game of darts has led to your hair to disappear.
Well,
are you ever tempted to grow it out? Are you ever tempted to grow it out like Bill Bailey? Get that sort of, get a hell of a look up on the balcony, giving it.
No.
Favourite Six Nations game you ever played in?
Yeah, that one would be up there because it goes with the night out afterwards as well.
Go on.
You can't do a Six Nations.
Grafton Street.
Well, yeah, it was
conquered.
Job done.
Yeah,
in completed the back pocket. Other good. France in 2000.
Yeah.
2000 when we were the good picture of the back row down on fingers and thumbs, and we defended, and
yes,
it was like it was a proper war, and
yes, that's right. That was in Paris, wasn't it?
Yeah, in Paris.
Yes, I like that
game.
BT Cellnet days, those were.
Yeah, they were.
Good night out.
I think it might have even been Cellnet.
Oh, was it? Yes, it might well have even been Cellnet.
Or did Cellnet change?
Was that because that was around what?
Proper old school
proper, big wind tunnel shirts as well. It was too much wind and you took off every shirt.
That's why we lost in Scotland when the hurricane hit.
Yeah.
We were into it.
Yeah.
Bolsh, poor thing, it was literally
went blue at the back. Frostbite.
That's why Clive brought him on with 5 minutes ago when Bolsh wins this game. And he was like, it's pissing down rain. What am I supposed to do?
Not exactly my territory. Because those around about 2000 was when it just began to get going. Because that was that win against Australia in 2000, wasn't it? When Lucas scored.
Yeah, well,
at the end in November.
The summer of 2000 as well.
That's right, South Africa.
Second test, winning that was where I think the mentality changed. That we could beat everyone. And as I say, that for the younger ones, we didn't lose then to Australia, New Zealand, or South Africa from that point till 2004.
Yeah. It's a hell of a run. Worst Six Nations game you ever played in?
Probably again in Paris, and everyone got ill. Remember, Dorse had to drop out the game.
Was that 2002?
No, it was later. It was after. It was like when Robbo was in charge.
Genuine ill, or
they said that we'd been to eat at a fish restaurant. We hadn't. Dorse was ill. He dropped out. I came down for breakfast and Dorse was sat there. I'm like, I feel really bloated. And Dorse is like, uh-oh. So then I was playing on the thing. My grandmother had died the day before.
Oh, bloody hell.
It was pretty bad anyway.
Yeah.
And then I was vomiting as I was playing.
Oh.
Like, Lol was like, mate, I've got you inside. I'm like, he's like,
not anymore, haven't
maybe not. And we lost, and it was just miserable. It was at a time where the England rugby was a bit miserable.
There were some utter turds at Murrayfield as well. There was sort of a 15-9 in the pissing rain and a 12-all in the pissing rain and a.
Yeah, there were some bad.
Most of them were in the pissing rain.
Yeah. There were, but between 2004 and 2007, there was quite a few bad games.
Yeah. What were your earliest memories? Five Nations, Six Nations. Did you watch
Simon Gagan's Lid?
93, 94.
Yeah.
The Octopus.
Yeah.
Was it Tony Stanger catching
Tony
that ball?
Stanger,
As it bounced up ridiculously?
Yeah. This is my sweet spot. This.
Thorburn knocking over that 50-yarder.
That was 87.
Who was that fullback? Was it Webb?
John Webb. Yeah, the Bath Doctor.
I've never seen a fullback that tall and thin.
Yeah, lovely curves.
Well, actually,
as well.
It was quite the norm with that Hodgkinson.
Simon Hodgkinson.
They literally did not have muscle.
Yes,
very clean
anti-muscle.
They basically only had to have a good foot and be able to catch because they did nothing else.
Very clean shorts and shirts at the end of a game.
Yeah,
you could tell.
The other one was Nigel Heslop getting absolutely leveled.
That was World Cup. That was 91 World Cup.
Oh, was it?
Final, yeah.
I mean,
Blanco.
I've never seen an attack on a bloke who then just immediately fell asleep.
Yeah, that was. He took a proper hammering.
Yeah.
Best away stadium. Which was your favourite country to play against? Favourite trip?
Six Nations.
Yeah.
Well, the best place on the planet to play rugby is the Millennium Stadium.
Really, Principality as it's now.
Friday night, roof shut.
Different level.
Doesn't get better than that.
Because,
especially if it's England, Wales.
Yeah.
It's the only time I've been on a field where you can't actually hear any calls within 10 metres. But then your challenge is to silence that.
Yeah.
And it's a massive win for you if you do manage to do it. I think it's just that's what the stadium. They're the sort of atmospheres you want to play in. It's where you find out whether you're made for it.
Did you ever find that kind of thing intimidating, overwhelming?
No,
Christ, what am I doing here? Or did you like hello?
Yeah, I loved it because I quite like that side of it.
Did you know players who found it too much? Not in the moment necessarily, but afterwards.
There's probably some out there, but that's just around
not amongst your mob
mentality, isn't it?
Do you have an itch that you didn't play Six Nations? Is that an itch? We sort of discussed this last time.
Yeah,
because of the romance and the history.
Did I tell you about Andrew Mower last time?
Was he the one that ate the pint glass?
Yeah. He also ate a plate in my flat in Newcastle.
Right. Super stuff.
He had a dinner. We had a lunch with Clive Woodward apparently,
Right.
And at some dinner, and he came back and he said, "Oh, Clive said you're going to start in the Six Nations," and you don't want to ever jump the gun.
Yeah.
But clearly, my brain jumped the gun.
Out there from the hip, literally levelling it.
And so I got overexcited, and I didn't actually get picked. That was quite tough to take. But I think, I always wish I'd played in one of those tournaments.
Yeah.
Because that's what you grow up watching as a kid.
Yeah.
It's quite nice to go along now and have a couple of beers still. You become a fan.
Yes. Do you, having played at that level and obviously having been, in the game for so many years, do you still get excited at this time of year? I mean, have you moved to fan, or are you?
I don't know about you. I didn't like looking at it for a bit when I was just out of the game, but now I've fanboy.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you don't generally talk about prop crush, do you?
No, true. True. We will keep that in.
I went
self-respecting.
I was at that.
Talk about prop crush.
I went to that Scotland game last time out.
Yeah.
And had a few beers with a few mates, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Obviously the result wasn't great, but great games to go and watch.
I was actually dying on that game because I'd been at Cheltenham every day.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. So by that was the.
He was horse.
Yes.
I did say.
I must have wondered whether you were actually alive and awake.
Yeah, I think in the green room they were lifting my arm up just.
Oh, really? Yeah. Checking the pulse. Do you get it? Does the Six Nations get you through February, March?
Well,
or have you kind of lived it?
I do. I do enjoy it still. I do, and this year I'm quite excited by it because I think it's a really good competition this year. I think I'm excited for Ireland because obviously I know the Irish will be amazed by this, but how well Leinster are playing. The change of coaches finally brought in some decent English coaches.
Someone get the net.
And then I think that team's going to be brilliant if they're allowed to play. With what Stuart's doing at Leinster, I think that if they give them some freedom, they could really find some form that we've hoped that we'd see for the last couple of years. Yeah, since 2018. But I think Wales as well, with how they're going to go under the new coaching structure. I think some of the young players that are in that team, they could really spice things up and change it around and play some really good rugby as well. England continuing from where they were in the World Cup, and then France. We normally go in not knowing really what they're going to do, but at least this time they're going in with a group of young players that hopefully won't have any fear. They don't have any hang-ups. They don't want to be
Sean
faulty.
Edwards,
they don't
barking in the background.
Yeah,
in his new French language.
Yeah. Well,
Français.
One thing you would have said of French teams in the past is. Now this is a stereotype, but getting the hard work into them early. Yeah. You're going to get that from Sean. So then, if you can instill that, most of that team have won the under-20s championship for the last couple of years. So hopefully they'll come in with no fear and have a go at everyone.
It's not very often you go into a tournament and there's nearly 50 uncapped players across all the teams.
Is that what it is?
Really? Yeah, well, there's 20 nearly, and there's 19
in France.
That is, we are seeing that World Cup cycle becoming a bigger and bigger thing now.
A crowd of the 9 and 10s that are playing for France, the oldest is 25, and all of the 10s are under 22. Something like that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And Eddie's laid down the challenge to them. Can they handle it?
Yeah.
History tells you that if you go well in a World Cup, you always find it hard to back up in a Six Nations that comes around pretty quickly around the corner. Do you have, from an England perspective, do you have one or two concerns, or do you think that there's a sort of reset and they'll go?
No, I think there'll be a reset and they'll go pretty quickly. Yeah. I think the only issue for me is I'm quite excited about what I see from that French team. Yeah. Any team that can leave out Raka from their squad and still function pretty well.
You need a last minute drop goal or intercept to beat France in France. So.
Yes,
but then you win a Grand Slam if you do. So.
Yeah,
I think
last 2 years ago.
I think England are in with a shout
of the title.
Yeah,
really.
My worry
levels?
My worry for England is still the nines. I would like to see a young nine in there. I know.
Who would you?
I know, like Alex Mitchell or whatever as a trainee. But Robson seems to be playing well again. Obviously, there was the guy, what's he called, Harry down at Bristol, who went on the tour. Again.
Yep.
Fountain of knowledge.
Completely clean bowled me.
But
under 20s.
Yeah. But something. I can understand
Harry Randall.
Harry Randall. Yeah. I know that you could keep one of them in there, whether it's Youngsy's. I think actually Willie Hines has probably been better than Youngsy. But I just think that England need that speed of tempo when they play, and obviously Youngsy's been an unbelievable servant for the game, but when he's not on song, that ball is too slow for me, if I'm honest. So I'd like to see someone just lift that pace. I do worry that Billy's not there. Obviously, we've got to find a replacement for that. We saw for the years when he was injured what happened when we didn't have Billy there. So that's.
Do you think the Don Brandt thing? Do you think we will see Don Brandt at some point?
I would hope so. The way he's played,
I reckon he's just been given a bit of a wake up.
Get fitter.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that with absolutely no knowledge of his fitness things at all.
He's been outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, he was ridiculous at the weekend. That break he made, then the sort of.
But he's fallen into that, the worst Eddie bracket to fall into where the media want you actually picked.
Yeah.
So you don't get picked.
It's the sort of thing, regardless of how fit you are, if people are still talking about what you did at uni and the fact that you lived your
Can you leave my uni days
well? Yeah, exactly. He says he did it properly. That Eddie will sort of punish you for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you think we'll see change throughout the Six Nations from England? Do you think they'll try things and use this as an opportunity to
I think it'll depend how it goes.
tinker?
I think it'll depend how it goes, really. I think ultimately they want to go and win the Grand Slam, so they have to go full strength for as much as they can. If they're playing with they're really on the front foot, then you can change one or two. I don't like seeing whole changes. I don't think it ever works for team.
Devalues the tournament as well.
Well, and team performance when it just doesn't work. Like even when they changed all those players for Japan in the autumn, and we actually Japan ran as close. It's like, well, no one's benefited out of that, of people who were sort of on the cusp who needed a good game, and then the young guys coming in, no one benefits. So I prefer it if he did if there are people in there that he really wants to try, do it as tweaks rather than wholesale changes.
What are you most excited about with this England squad? What most interests you about what we might learn?
Ben Earl.
Really?
Well, Ben Earl. Not that I'm sort of giving the
going for the
big
forwards
up to the forwards.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, sorry. I think he's shown enough playing for Saracens that he probably will be an exciting addition to the England squad and the Six Nations.
Yeah,
I think Ludlam as well. He'll get a shot and he'll be exciting to watch. I'd like to see Elliot Daly play on the left wing.
Okay.
And give Watson a shot at fullback.
Yeah, they were talking about this, weren't they? I was listening to something, and they were saying JJ was, even though he didn't train over there, Jonathan Joseph, he was like practicing high balls, and they were like trying to suggest that he was going to play fullback. I was like, why would JJ play fullback?
Yeah. I mean,
why would you, when you've got Watson? I mean, who are you putting in your back three to where you need to put Jonathan Joseph for fullback? But nice, the BBC podcast.
Right. Can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah. But it's also whether he gives like someone like Dingwall a go, or Furbank or something like that, or are they just there for experience for now? And
it's an obvious run against Italy, isn't there?
Although
that's final game, isn't it? So that's where they're at.
Well, everyone would want to play in that, wouldn't they, if they're going to lift the trophy at the end of it, rather than doing a John Terry and running on with their kit.
Yeah. Simon Amor as attack coach. So Scott Wisemantle was beginning.
Yeah,
I think he did 18 months or so, but obviously had an impact. How does Amor lift it to another level?
In terms of intelligent players, he will be up there with one of the most intelligent players I've ever played with.
Really? Where did you play with him?
London and South East schools.
Right, super stuff.
Back in the day.
Possibly.
I missed that one, sorry.
Where it all started.
Probably got it on VHS somewhere.
As we tore holes in the north.
Right. Because I'm fascinated
probably
by
the smallest midfield ever.
Right.
Wilco, Simon Amor and myself.
Right.
We weren't exactly gifted with height.
Packed the punch?
Probably.
Got the job done.
Yeah, got the job done. He's a brilliant player though.
Yeah.
For someone to, he played Premiership for Wasps, didn't he? And where else was it? Gloucester. But to play that small in the Premiership, you've got to be sharp mentally, I think, and understand the game. And I remember his dad from years gone back, and he loved the game as well. So I think Simon's always been one of those players that was going to move into coaching. It's just great to see him. Get a shot.
Yeah,
he's obviously still going to do the Olympics as well, isn't he? I think.
Is that right?
I think so.
He's doing both. He's going to have to set the alarm clock early and produce the goods because there are no prisoners.
I think he'll go well. I think I think through his Seven stuff, he does study the game, and I think he'll want want to make an impression. He works hard, obviously, off his Sevens background and how he was as a player. He's always worked hard. As you said, because he was probably smaller, he always felt he had to.
Yeah.
So he'll push the players for sure, and I think that could be good for them, just trying to get that little bit extra out of them.
Do you think anything other than England Grand Slam is a disappointment, given how well they played at times during that World Cup? I know the final obviously ran away. What represents a good 2 months for England?
I don't think it necessarily has to be a Grand Slam. I think a lot of fans will be going, "Oh, we need to win this whole thing." But actually, I think it's more important that they give some experience to some young players.
So this is almost a reset for 4 years' time, rather than push on from.
Yeah, but I do think they're capable of winning the tournament. Ireland, I think look pretty good, even though
it's Wales and Ireland at home.
This used to be our hardest year, because we had France away, and then for the last few years this has been our best chance of winning it, because we've had Wales and Ireland at home. But obviously we lost to Scotland last time we were up there, as Doddy Weir reminded me in the week. So he asked me if I wanted to. I had dinner with Doddy on last Tuesday, and he asked me if I wanted to bring the Calcutta Cup down. I was like, you might as well, because it's going to stay here.
Right.
But so I still think this is our best year to do it. But it's going to be interesting to see what France do. I think Scotland at the moment need to come out and show a lot.
Quite a lot of pressure around
there is. I think this time they've always sort of walked with they could show up, they couldn't, and then obviously with the World Cup and the disappointment of the World Cup, there's definitely a lot of pressure there.
Yeah,
I think this week's compounded the World Cup, hasn't it?
For Scotland,
made it worse.
Yeah. The Finn Russells.
Yeah. I don't understand it. Like, if you're going to a Six Nations tournament, you don't need to have that beer for that long, which clearly it was quite a long time.
Yeah. Do we actually know any detail, or is it all just speculation?
Well, only what's been said.
Right.
I mean,
what was said? Too many ales. Too many ales. Training on Monday.
Yeah, I'm not training. Disappeared back to France, play for Racing.
Well, he was sent back though. He didn't.
Well, yeah, but again, disappeared back there.
Right.
He was given the option apparently to go and train, and went.
Wow.
Apparently.
Gosh. Interesting. Apparently, the door's been left open for.
It's whether it has a hangover from Twickenham last year. From Twickenham last year, when they.
There's been a lot of rugby since then.
Yeah, but if he still doesn't feel that he's getting to express himself in that certain way, is there a hangover in that way? I don't know. Because then obviously the World Cup didn't exactly go the way he wanted, did it? So
somebody said to me this week they sued a typhoon, which is the SRU sued a typhoon.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't really work.
Yeah.
We'll come back to Scotland. Wales are. There's so many fascinating subplots, but Wayne Pivac, new head coach, lot of youngsters. Rhys Samet. Are Wales dark horses? Are they front runners? Are they let's just see how it goes kind of things?
I think they've got a really good chance in terms of it. They've got we get to now really see what this coaching group will bring. Are they going to bring that sort of Scarlet's high tempo, expansive rugby, which you hope they do with the young players that they've got within that squad? You would hope they do. They've got freedom to do what they're going to do around the midfield. Obviously, they've got speed all over the backs. They've got talent all over the backs, and then they've got that sort of some new forwards, but a core of back row, second row that they can rely on. So, I actually think that they're going to be quite hard to beat. Yeah. But this is why I'm quite excited about it, because I think this could be the best year of actual matches where
where you don't necessarily.
Yeah, you don't.
Do you think we're in for quite a high quality of rugby?
Yeah, I also think because of all these young players that are coming through, you lose the stigma of rugby being played in February, March. It's going to be crap. It's going to be attritional. It's going to be this.
Because they'll give it a crack.
Because they'll just give it a crack. I mean, that's what generally rugby at club level is now. I know that's different between international and club.
Well, Ireland are talking about changing the way they play, aren't they? Wales are. Scotland have.
Yeah.
England are talking about still being brutal, but I think there's enough players, as you say. France will have they're not going to try and just knock you over.
Unsafe bet is that France will have the biggest amount of offloads. For sure about that.
Yes, from everywhere. No Jonathan Davis, no Rhys Patchell, no Gareth Anscombe, which is quite a lot of firepower to be missing behind the pack.
I'd love to see Nick Tompkins get a shot though.
Yeah,
he's a really good player.
There's good options there.
Yeah.
So if they put Tompkins in there off off Hadley Parks.
Well, they talked
Is
about,
Tompkins ready, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he plays brilliantly for Saracens. Again, he's an intelligent player, but I wouldn't. People are talking about moving George North in from the wing. I just wouldn't put him at 13.
No, because you're just killing a winger.
Yeah.
You ain't ever getting it.
No.
Your two wingers would have remembered.
I was the winger.
Well, yeah, you were all over the place.
Hasn't Benny Cohen got the second most round tries for us?
Yeah, that was Greenwood on the miss.
No. Greenwood was always tucking under his jumper when he knew he could score.
Very true. What about the pressure on someone like Wayne Pivac? I mean, you interestingly, Size picked out a really interesting thing just about how Gatland, Hansen, Henry, and many before them have just spoken about the Goldfish Bowl and the pressure that comes with being Wales head coach. I mean, he's an ex-copper.
I think he's all right.
He's pretty worldly adjusted.
Boring in the World Cup that he can't do any worse than that. Can
Good. It'd be nice if you'd go on the fence occasionally.
He can't produce as bad a game as that semi-final, so he's on a pretty even keel for me.
Okay. I was hungover after the day before.
Right.
England, New Zealand. I was like,
so was I. I was in the stadium.
And I had to do third voice.
Oh.
I was struggling by the end of it.
Wow. Lightly snoozing into your microphone.
If ever there was a game.
Monotone. Oh my God. Another kick.
Yeah. How is he going to... Is it going to be a sort of an evolution of what Wales have been doing? So, I mean, would you expect incremental changes based on what they were doing at the World Cup? Or do you think he's ripped up the playbook and said, right, we're going to readjust it. This is how we're almost going to start again kind of thing?
Yeah, I know, because I think you always have to... Rugby's pretty simple. You're going to start off a good set pieces, and then you've got to then allow... What he's got to do with how he's going to pick the team is then dictate on how he's going to play. If he's going to, most games now are going to play with dummy runners out the front and your speed out the back and change things around like that. And it's just how he's then going to play with the forwards. Is he going to go one out all the time, or is he going to push them a little bit wider and allow them to be the decoy runners and allow the backs to be outside of that? And that's what I hope, is just he gets away from those one out runners. That's fine when you get into the 22 and you're going for a try 5 yards out.
Percentage rugby.
But then it's quite nice to have your threats a little bit open and use the whole field.
There's a really interesting quote from Alan Jones, who said very honestly that when you get a new coach in, some players look for the shadows and don't want the ball to come their way. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, I would never have said... I think it's one opportunity where you're like, I have to put my hand up.
Yeah. One or two in the front row club might have burrowed deeper into the rucks and the mauls. Have you ever played with anyone like that? Julian White wasn't a big one for catch and pass and roll balls.
Mickey Ward wasn't.
Yeah. Mickey Ward, no?
He loved hitting a ruck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just do what you do, just to try and do it better.
And hit it harder.
So, I mean, what do you think the expectations are on Wales then?
I think from in Wales that they'll be massive. I think obviously they've got some injuries to Jonathan Davies. I think is really important, but
such a good player.
Yeah, he's brilliant. But they've still got some fantastic players at their disposal. Yeah, and they'll want to turn England over. They'll want to start well against. They got Italy up first, haven't they?
Yeah,
I think
Italy first
at
home.
They're off.
Italy first at home.
Yeah,
that's 50. Because Italy haven't even got a full-time coaching staff. I mean, they haven't changed anything from the World Cup squad, have they? I haven't even written down.
I mean, Sergio's even having a sort of a farewell tour.
Dipping in and dipping out.
Yeah, I think I'll play that one and that one. Thank you. Okay, so high expectations on England and Wales. Ireland, another new head coach in Andy Farrell.
I think they look really good.
Thoughts?
They've always named their team. And I think I saw Caelan Doris a couple of years ago in the under-20s. And in terms of intelligent footballers, he's got an ability to offload, make line breaks, which is probably something if you add in to Stander, who's just horrible to play against, isn't he? And then Van der Fleer, who's just rapid and does all the graft. Combine that with all of the guys up front that they've got, and Furlong, Healy, they're still there, Ryan and Henderson. Yeah. And then actually with Mike Catt as their backs coach, they've got an ability to try and really open the game up.
Yeah.
Interesting first question is who you pick at 9.
Cooney.
Without doubt, you should pick Cooney, but are they?
But I wonder whether they've made that change in the back row and then think, right, we need to keep some stability right in behind him.
Well, yeah, I mean, but if you're going to make a change, make a change.
Yeah.
You got nothing to lose. You had the most disastrous World Cup ever.
Yeah.
Why don't you just get on with it and bring in the new era?
A lot rely on credit. There's a bit of credit in the bank, maybe. But.
You can't. I don't think. I think as a coaching group, if you're stepping in, you can't. You don't get credit. You've got to earn it back, and that goes straight on performances that you can.
Yeah, but he's not. He's moving through rather than coming in fresh.
Well, that's true. But then, from Catty's point of view,
still speak to Mike. Do you have a little text exchange?
Yeah.
How did he find the Italy experience?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean,
I got the sense there was quite a lot of frustration from.
He moved out there, and then family didn't really enjoy it out there, so he had to move back, and then he was travelling. So I think it got frustrating as well. With obviously, you're not fully hands on all the time, and it's quite hard to try and bring these young players through there, and they're not actually getting the time that they need or whatever.
What's he making of Ireland?
I haven't actually. I spoke to him since he's been in Ireland.
Oh, really? What impact do you think he'll have with Ireland?
Well, the thing is with Catty is he wants to play freedom. He wants to give people find their skill sets and basically play to a way that suits the players around him. And I think with the likes of Sexton on form, Stockdale, Ringrose, you get, whether it be Henshaw, whoever you can put, Earls, Chris Farrell, whatever you want to do with it. There are talented players there, which we've always said. We said they always played a rubbish way of playing. So I think it's going to be great for Ireland, and I actually think they're going to be very hard to beat.
Really?
And
do you expect the handbrake to come off a bit?
Yeah, I would hope so. I'd be really disappointed if it doesn't. I think with the way Leinster are playing, I think it's sort of an open book to sort of try a little bit more. Even Ulster and how they've played.
Might have a bit less of that wraparound.
Yeah, less of
the tends to work, doesn't it? If it ain't
just
broke.
A few other options.
So where are we seeing? I mean, we're just basically saying everyone is looking shit hot at the moment.
Apart from Italy.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm talking about Wales, England, Ireland. I mean,
I think Ireland and England are the top two for me, and then Wales and France aren't too far behind.
Yeah,
and I think Scotland sit alone, and then just down this bit of the back.
And the Italians
sit down there somewhere.
Forza,
but the problem is Scotland could get right on the day and mess someone else's Six Nations up if they just find that day where everything comes together. I think they can still mess up a game for someone, but they're not. I don't think they can have the consistency.
Okay. You are listening and watching House of Rugby, brought to you by Joe, together with our good friends at Guinness, with me, Alex Payne, alongside Mike Tindall and Tom May. Still to come, we're going to look at the three other teams. We'll preview the Women's Six Nations with one of the stars, the Red Roses, as well. But first, on a very emotional edition of TKO this week, the Hull boxer Tommy Coyle, who won an IBF lightweight title and a Commonwealth Games gold, announced his retirement from the sport that he has loved since he was a young boy. Have a listen to this.
I don't want to retire, do you know what I mean? I love fighting, I love everything about it. I love the camp, I love being in camp with the lads. I love the physicality of having getting in there and having it. I love it. But listen, the way I fight and some of the wars I've been involved in, you go swimming, you get wet, it's how many more wars can I have? Where do I draw the line? Do I have one war too many? And I just think, I've achieved my mountaintop. I'm not a world title. I'm not a world champion. I'm not the best fighter in the world, but I've had a right good go. I've made some top memories, and I've proper loved it. I really have. Because it is hard, honestly. It's been my best mate for 25 years, this game. It's over, isn't it? Fucking ass, I don't want to do this, man.
Don't worry,
just have a minute, mate. There's no rush. No rush at all.
You owe me 50 quid.
So that was obviously a highly emotional clip from a very emotional pod, actually. Well worth watching if you're a boxing fan. Good luck to Tommy. Increasingly, we are seeing it's hard to say goodbye to a sport that you invest your life in, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean...
Did you have a point where did you ever shed a tear?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to, but as soon as I knew it was happening, I couldn't stop. I cried when I left Newcastle. When I got to the point where I was going to retire, had family there and stuff, and you try and hold it. I was crying for the last 10 minutes of the game against Saracens.
You're kidding me?
No, because I knew I could. It was like a sand time. I could sort of just feel it going, right, this is now just drifting away. But I think some players were looking at me and going, what the hell is wrong with you, man?
Slotting into
something like Bobby Boucher.
Yeah.
Water sucks.
Yeah.
Really the wrong water.
I was crying for the last 10 minutes of the game.
Did you blub?
No,
I can't.
no.
You're not really a blubber.
No.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye. I've got other things to do. Cheers. On the payroll.
But I think from Tommy's point of view, it's a medical grounds, isn't it? I think they've told him he's got to stop.
Yeah.
I think when it's taken away from you, I mean,
It's
hard enough when you decide on your own, I think, but when it's taken away from you.
I was bloody irritated I didn't get Hask to cry in his. He got quite wobbly and watery-eyed, but he didn't blub, which is a shame. He cried in Japan a couple of times, though, didn't he? 4 a.m. Right, that was...
He's so big.
His eyeballs that were under threat. I don't know where we're going with that. Anyway, that was Tommy Coyle. Good luck to Tommy announcing his retirement on TKO with Chris Lloyd and Carl Frampton. Don't forget our Facebook group. Apparently we have 4,000 new joinees last week. Welcome along if you're part of that. And that is where you can get all the details of our next live show, which is going to be next Wednesday in London at Flatiron Square. We'd love to see you there. Tickets are available. Go to Facebook and type in House of Rugby. I don't know who's joining us next week out of interest. TBC. That's how we roll. TBC.
He's a great player.
You around next week?
Played in a few games.
Good stuff. Big names guaranteed. Big names guaranteed.
Number 23, TBC.
Number 23, TBC. Back to the Six Nations. Sai has put in big, bold letters, we've done those who can win it. Let's do those who can't. Italy. Haven't won a game in the Six Nations since 2015. I mean... Time to bring in a different team, make the bottom end of the tournament more competitive, he's asked. Relegation, playoff? Are we getting there?
I generally don't have an issue if they did something around that.
Right.
I think, whether it's, well, obviously it's Italy's fault, but if their domestic game is not helping them to make that jump, then I think there has to be another team that has the ability to come up, whether it be Georgia or Uruguay or whoever it might be. Another. But I think...
Could be Uruguayan, could you?
Well, don't know.
Spain,
Fiji.
Portugal. What?
Well,
no, in terms
some
of,
good away trips to Spain.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows it'd probably be Georgia that came up.
Yeah.
But,
Romania. It'd be great to see
Romania.
them flying some
I think
shots.
it'd be worthwhile fully exploring that, and whether... I don't understand what's the problem with promotion relegation in terms of that. They play, if you finish bottom, you have a one match playoff. Well, what's wrong with that?
But can you imagine England going to Turkey, Romania? It's actually quite good fun.
Is it not good? Is it not?
Do you know? I wonder if this size thing will open people's eyes to.
Different.
Rugby is amazing when you're winning European Cups, but actually rugby is about getting out and meeting people and seeing things.
Is that not the whole point of what we want to try and do?
I wonder if Sarries will be the key that unlocks promotion and relegation.
In the early days of the European Cup, you used to end up in some amazingly different places across Europe.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
What was the one in Russia? Yenisei.
Yenisei.
TSM and Connacht took 2.5 weeks to get there and couldn't get back.
Yeah. Oh, some of the French
get stuck there for 2.5 weeks.
You'll get stuck there 2.5 weeks.
Frozen.
Yeah. Sergio.
Just
farewell, Sergio.
Play when you want.
What?
Yeah.
Just play when he wants.
How good would Sergio have been if he had been in
Here's a controversial one. Do we think that's good for Italy?
Wow.
Him sort of... I understand how amazing he has been for Italian rugby, but how is it helping them move on? And I love Sergio.
I don't think it is, but
I love Sergio as well, but it's not... I don't think it's helpful for Italy in any way, shape or form, just having...
But maybe it gets headlines and front pages, and Italian rugby needs some good stories around it. I'm literally playing devil's advocate.
That's quite a good point.
Well, yeah.
Thanks. There's not many for that.
Or it just highlights the 50-point loss.
Yeah, it's true. If he'd play for any one of the other nations, where would he rank in? Was he that good, or was he really good in a very average team?
Well, he was obviously very good in a very average team.
Yeah.
But I think if you put him in the right environment, or the team that played in the right way, that sort of complemented the way that he played, he could have been unbelievable.
You still have to have the skills. You still have to be, and most of the teams he's playing against when he's playing amazing is a team that's way better than his team.
Yeah.
So you don't make line breaks. You don't make the offload that he's made, created what he's created, done what he's done. He's definitely I think in his pomp, I think it'd be struggle if he didn't get in any team in the world.
Really?
He was exceptional.
Yeah.
His skill set was just phenomenal.
He's tormented England a couple of times as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Good on him. I think it's right he gets a farewell. He didn't get his...
I don't know about two.
Arrivederci and
Six Nations tour.
Yeah. No one will ever beat the farewell tour of Brian O'Driscoll, who had his last game for Leinster, his last away game for Leinster, his last home game for Leinster, last away game for Ireland. I mean, that went on and on and on, and rightly so. But yeah, I think
let him get away with it.
Yeah, well. I think Parisa deserves his farewell. Franco Smith. I mean, what is it going to take for Italian rugby to... Here's a question, you've got 30 seconds. What is it going to take for Italy to get better?
Discover some more players with grandmas. Discovering someone like Pellegrini, who has been brilliant over here, or Callum Brayley. That they need to try and develop that network. Obviously, they want to develop their homegrown talent and get those youngsters coming through, but that takes years.
They need to push their youngsters out to clubs and even if it won't be possible, but even if the home nation could subsidise them and send them on trials and just to get them training with world-class players, or as you said, when you get someone like Jake and Callum Brayley, then you need more of those players. But how do you do that unless you can sort of send them out? I don't know whether they've got a policy that they all have to stay at home. Do they have to play for 2 years?
I don't actually know. I don't know whether they have to. No, because
but they need to get people more exposure and get them out there. And I don't know how they do that. I don't know the ins and outs of what their player pool looks like. But the more exposure they can get to rugby, that's not generally just in their home clubs, it would benefit them massively.
Stat taken from Twitter, so take it with a very large slab of salt. Apparently, attendances in the Italian clubs in the Pro 14 are up 34%.
That's a good stat.
That is a good stat.
Can someone give us a stat on how long that will take to then transfer to the players that are coming through?
18 years. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm really looking forward to the Six Nations.
Do you think we'll still be here?
2038.
Do you think we'll still be here in 2038?
Welcome
exactly.
to Joe. We told you
fitted.
18 years ago.
And a pacemaker, and a hearing aid. Maybe by then your nose will be cleared. You'll have clean pipes. Any more on Italy, or are they just ticking along?
Yeah,
getting in the way.
It's just
where they can.
All they can do is just try and play as an expansive game. I don't think them trying to drag people down and playing tight. I think they need to try and make it fun to play for Italy. I know it's.
Well, that comes with
at least
winning.
England fans have got it going out there last. It might be quite warm. Good weekend.
Yeah, it's a rosé.
We're out in Rome. If you want to come out for the green room, night out with me and Lol. just after Cheltenham week.
Japan,
brilliant.
And then
I'll be in a body bag.
If Italy are going to beat anyone, who are they going to beat?
Scotland.
Good.
Well, if you think about it, last year they scored more tries. I love this stat. They scored more tries than Ireland, didn't they? And Wales. It's more tries than Wales last year. They scored 11, didn't they?
All right.
So if they can go out there and still...
They don't mind a fixture against France, actually, do they?
No.
Yeah. Vive la France. There's a part of me, the romantic part of me, that would love France to get the wind in their hair and the tricolores flowing.
You just want to see that quarter-final game against Wales without an elbow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they're unplayable.
Yeah.
Just lines... switches where no one actually thinks to switch. And
do you know, it would also be lovely to see France put 40 minutes together, the first 40 together, which is really good, and then a second 40 where they don't just self-combust, throw it away, do everything they can to do. Just put the foot on the ball and hold it with a 20-point lead. Just hold that lead to the end.
I don't think anyone could believe quite what they were witnessing, could they?
No.
In that stadium.
Do we think that...
Then that's been the case, hasn't it, for the last two openers? Ireland outplayed Ireland.
And
then
Wales.
Miraculous drop goal. And then Wales completely dead and buried.
40-yard left-handed miss pass.
Yeah. 2 intercepts or whatever it was. And
Do we think? I'm going to ask it, and we do it every single time. I think I've done it 18 times. Do we think this could be the year for France?
I think.
Good. We're back on the bandwagon.
Good.
I think it's a year too early, but I think it'll be a good acid test for those young players. And if they get it right,
do you know the other thing? Perhaps they could just calm down a little bit with their selection. They get through 78 players in 5 games.
Well, yeah.
Just give everyone a chance to bed in a bit.
I generally do think them not having those older players who now every French player turns into a statesman and politician around what should be done, and without that, and just let the young guys just go and play.
Combine those young guys with Vakatawa. I mean, he is unbelievable.
There is one quite nice French touch, which is they selected Charles Olivion as captain, who has never started in the Six Nations before. Sort of, we must play one wild card. We are French. You're captain. It's just amazing, isn't it? Do we think that they might fire some serious shots?
Yeah.
Okay. Scotland. A tough task for Gregor. It's seemingly getting even tougher, and we sort of touched on it earlier. What are the expectations on Scotland?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that everyone knows that he needs Finn Russell, so he's in a really weak spot in terms of negotiating. I just don't think that consistency is going to be there still. I think they're going to blow hot and cold, unfortunately.
Okay. Hoggy as captain.
I'm happy for Hoggy. I think the pressure he always feels under to perform, and how sometimes he
is this
2 guys they missed in the World Cup. Hamish Watson, who went home.
Yeah.
He's outstanding for them.
Yeah.
And also they never picked Rory Hutchinson.
Yes.
Should have picked him for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And at least now he's in the squad. He's brilliant.
Yep. Bolter, like ready for that level.
I think so.
That's brilliant. Got to go to Dublin first up. They've won once since 2010, and then they've got the Calcutta Cup.
They had a chat. They had a chance last time they were there, though, didn't they? They got an intercept or whatever when they.
Yes, they threw an intercept. I think it was Jacob Stockdale.
Yeah. Well, that was the year that I think he scored 5 tries and he intercepted 4 of them.
Yeah.
Great rugby, Ireland.
So we think Scotland can do damage, but not necessarily sustain.
I think they could. I think they could spoil
a party or two.
Someone's party, but I just don't think they'll have.
Calcutta Cup. Do you think that is?
They always know they'd play better in Calcutta Cups, Scotland in general. So
yeah, we were talking about some of your turds that you played up in the Calcutta Cup. You know,
glad you finished that.
I rephrase that. We're talking about some of the awful games you played, but funny enough, in that Calcutta Cup, I think an England 9-6 would just be very nice, given what's happened in the last 2 games against Scotland. In the driving rain. The winner of the Six Nations is going to be. The Guinness Six Nations is going to be.
Say England.
Right. But English arrogance reigns supreme,
of course,
says the Western Mail.
I think because England have Ireland and Wales at home, that they will win it.
Okay. Grand Slam or no Grand Slam?
I don't think there'll be a Grand Slam.
Okay. Good stuff. Let's turn it on to the Women's Six Nations, which kicks off on Sunday, and we're going to do so in the company of the Harlequins and England winger Jess Breach, who I think has the finest try-scoring ratio in Test rugby.
Not bad, is
Watch this. Let's do a cut. Hello, Jess, and welcome back.
Seamless.
Eyes wide awake. You're back in the room, as is Jess Breach. Very nice to have you with us.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank
What's
you.
been keeping you busy?
Six Nations prep, university.
Yeah.
Actually, I had quite a long Christmas break, but then obviously we played big game for Quins in that break. But yeah, it was nice to go home to my mum and dad.
And I asked you just while we were welcoming you in whether you'd ever listened to this before, and you said you've just listened to one episode on the way into uni, at which point all 3 of us have felt our groaning hips and backs giving out, which is a little unfortunate. What are you currently doing? Where are you studying? What's the degree?
At St Mary's in Twickenham, and I'm studying sports communication and marketing.
And how's that going?
Yeah, it's good. It's fun. I'm not there actually as much as probably I would want to be, but it's nice. I think it's nice to go into something that potentially I could go into after uni, and have a actual insight at the moment, going to my lectures and to my friends and being like, oh, this is what it's like actually being part of some companies, which is quite nice.
And what do your friends and the people that you're studying with make of the fact that they are with an international sporting superstar in the union and, studying, etc.
Well,
Do you get great kudos for that, or are they?
Yeah, well, I left them today, and I was like, "Oh, bye, see you next week." And they were like, "Oh, you're not coming on Thursday?" I was like, "No, I'm going to France." And they were like, "Oh, like on holiday?" And I was like, "No, definitely not on holiday."
Not on holiday. Are you not wearing your England stash to every single opportunity?
No, definitely not.
Right,
that's called something, isn't it? Yeah,
under the radar, I like that.
Everyone takes the piss out of you if you wear your kit.
You very
give it away,
except for Hask, who is.
It's changed, isn't it?
It has.
It used to be get your stash out.
You weren't even a student, and you were wearing your English stash around Bath University, I would imagine.
Yeah, I was one of those that didn't like wearing my stash.
No, it's horrible. People take the piss, literally.
Right.
They'll be like, "Oh, do you play for England?" And you're like, "Well, you know the answer, so why are you saying it?"
Right.
Worst one for that, Ollie Phillips.
Stash.
Still takes an England bag. Shit like that.
Yeah.
Ollie, grow up.
He actually came to the pod with his, because he's now doing Wales Sevens, he came with his Welsh Sevens coat. Yeah, he did. No, he did. When he came the other day, he was wearing his Wales Sevens coat.
I've got a great story about Chris Chesney. So when you get you get given a team blazer or whatever.
Yeah.
He left Toulon years ago. And apparently Ches turned up 4 years down the line in the middle of corporate with his Toulon blazer on. Oh, mate, let it go.
Love that. No, that's right. Actually, the Toulon blazers were very smart. They used to have the red trim.
Sorry,
red trimming.
Very nice.
Good. Welcome to our Six Nations preview. This is
It's about as rugby as we get.
Can I ask you, so I remember your debut, which I think was on Sky, 6 tries, and everyone went, wow, welcome to the game. And then your second game, you scored 5 tries. So 11 tries in your first 2 games. What are we currently sitting on? Don't
she's trying to do the
Don't to think. It's
You just shoot and try to do the
top of the file of
I
facts.
think it is maybe 20 in 7. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, are you on a try bonus? Do you get
early days, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like our early
that
days.
is outrageous. I mean, I don't think that is that the greatest strike rate in international.
I wouldn't.
Oh, I
Guinness
wouldn't know,
World
but I'm happy to be told it is. I'm going to say that it is. Why? Why is this? Why are you ripping it up quite so emphatically?
I don't know. I think for my debut, it just came quite naturally, and I think obviously having Nolly behind me at fullback helped a lot.
She's quite noisy, isn't she?
Yeah, very.
Yeah. Helps you do. I think she's coming next week actually to our pod. So yes, she'll certainly be noisy at that. So she was obviously very helpful.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think I play my best when I'm enjoying it and when I'm having fun, and definitely my first 2 caps were very enjoyable.
A lot of fun.
Enjoyable,
This is a stupid question from the athletics background. Are you generally, would you say you're way quicker than most that are out there? Most opposite numbers.
It looked it.
Yeah.
Flames.
Yeah, I think so. I think that I have my raw speed from athletics, and I've never wanted to let that go. So, being able, having open space in front of me, I'm just going to go and.
Because what were you were a hurdler?
Yeah, hurdler.
At what level did you get to in that? How did you then find your way into rugby?
So I did I got to English schools.
Did you?
Yeah, but I played rugby since I was 6.
Okay.
But I just was quite sporty. I actually didn't really like school. I actually hated it, and I don't really know why I'm at uni, but got to do something else.
Yeah. What were you like at school? Were you badly behaved, or just? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, no. I think I just got easily swayed. I went to an all-girls school,
right?
And I would not be afraid to speak my mind.
Okay.
So my friends would be like, "Oh, say this," so I'd say it, and then I would end up standing outside. So probably didn't
introduce you to my daughter.
Yeah.
She's heading that way.
Right.
Yeah.
1 or 2 problems in that department.
Freedom of speech.
Free spirit.
Yeah.
So at what point or who was the first person to say, right, concentrate, stop answering back, and actually you can be quite good at either hurdling or rugby? Did you have an inspirational coach or teacher who said, right?
Not really. One of my PE teachers was Emma Wiggs, and she's a Paralympian.
Yeah.
Now she went to the Paralympic Games and did kneeling volleyball, but now she's a canoeist.
Okay.
So I guess that was quite a bit of inspiration, knowing that she was in a wheelchair and she was aspiring to be a Paralympian. But I think I just grew up and actually realised that it's actually not cool to stand outside the class and to be told off. But you think when you're younger, you think that's the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
To be like, oh yeah, I missed the lesson. When actually then you have to catch up and do the homework. So it's actually really not that cool.
I remember Nolly saying, I can't remember who it was, but she said she's obviously had a glorious career, but she said when she was getting to the end, she couldn't believe how fearless the young people coming into the squad were, I imagine when you went into the England squad, I think we've spoken about this, walking into a room with Johnson, Hill, Back, Delalio, Leonard, etc., you probably were quite comfortable with it, but there were one or two who were like, whoa. But apparently when the younger generation walk into this England camp now, they're just like, yeah, great, cool, this is how it goes, we're happy to be part of it.
I think when I came in, there was like 5 or 6 of us, and we'd all grown up together.
Yeah.
So I think it was quite nice for us to do it, and we were comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
And we'd played some Premiership, like in our clubs, there was some England players, but you still have those moments where you're like, I'm playing with Emily Scarrett, and like I watched at the 2010 World Cup, so that is crazy. But I think it's not easier, but if you're confident, they're gonna actually allow you to like have conversations with them, and just if you put yourself out there, they're gonna be like, oh, actually, they're trying.
And if I could be bold, you are probably part of the second wave that is carrying women's sport through at the moment. And Emily and Maggie, Katie Daly McLean, etc., were part of the initial real breakthrough when, and you mentioned that 2010 World Cup. Actually, it's sort of everyone bought into it.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you noticed a change in perception of women's sport? I mean, do you find it easier now? Do you find it more kind of a greater awareness around it?
I think so, but I still think that loads more can be done. I think football is definitely taking it in the right direction. Like they sold out Wembley, which is crazy. And obviously there's netball more on Sky and stuff. But I think it needs to be more accessible to people, and I think people need to like know about it more. And like at the men's games, I still think there's more that they could like do to promote our games. Like I think like when we play at the Stoop, they say it maybe like once that we're playing after the men, and it's like, well, it should be said like constantly that stay, like the women are playing, like it's going to be a really good game. And I think if people like rugby, they like rugby, and I think they need to get out of their head that it's women that are playing. Like, surely you just like the sport, not the gender.
Yeah,
I think it's been great. It's been moved around the country.
Yeah.
So you go down to Exeter and they sell it out. They go to Doncaster and they sell it out.
Yeah.
And actually, that's how you start to grow the game and move it around the place. I think it's been brilliant seeing that.
And the counties do it, like, so Exeter as a city, they've done so much to promote women's rugby, and so have Doncaster. And I think that's why we then go back to those places, because we know that we can sell them out and we're going to get a really good audience and a really good backing.
Yeah.
And it's nice to play at those places where you feel like wanted. And at Exeter, definitely, like you feel really wanted to have it sold out. Like it's amazing.
Do you feel comfortable with the role model status and the trailblazer and I suppose the responsibility that comes with helping the sport break through? I think so, but I think still as a younger female within the sport, I think it's hard, but because I still look up at like Katie Daly McLean and Emily Scarrett. But yeah, it's nice to know that like 8 to 12, like 15-year-olds are looking at you being like, oh, that's what I want to do. And I think it's so nice now they can be like, I want to be a professional rugby player, and it not be a no, like within their class, and their PE teacher's like, oh, that's never going to happen, when actually it can happen, and it's just like the men. Yeah. You can add something or not?
Well, no, I'll say it's the hardest thing is getting it out there, isn't it? Whether it be on TV or whatever. And that's the difficulty, is when I was saying, well, where are you playing? But at least the French have stacked it up. So you'll be watching one channel, you can watch 3 games back to back, and then that's helping PR it. I mean, I know that they're doing a golf tournament next year where they're all men and women shoot for an equal purse. So it's genuine. And I was like, well, that's the best way of getting people to see it, because it's something like golf, but it's harder to do with rugby. But you want to make sure that people, and I agree, when there is a game after a men's game, it's incentivising them to stay in their seats and actually buy into it and watch.
Yeah,
like people walk past us, like when we play at the Stoop, for instance, and we're walking in. People walk past us and they go, good luck, and I'm like, why are you saying, why aren't you staying? Like, even if it's for like 20 minutes, you're gonna get the gist of the game and you're gonna actually enjoy it, and then you'd probably end up staying for the full 80, but you're walking past me and saying good luck.
That's almost even ruder. I know you're playing, but I'm still going.
And it's like, go on, girls, and I'm like, where are you going? It's a Saturday night. I understand, fine, it's late, cold, but still, just it does baffle me. Sometimes I do have to bite my tongue and I'm like, don't say anything.
Do you ever just say?
No, Shauna Brown does.
Really?
And she just looks at them and she's like, well, why aren't you staying?
Right.
And they
probably take a seat. Yeah. Very good idea. Why don't I think of that myself?
Where do you think I was going?
Yeah.
No, they just walk faster. They're like, oh God.
What's life at Quins like? Because actually, they as a club, they seem to be right on the edge of trying things, and I know David Ellis, who was the previous chief exec, was hugely into the women's side of the club.
He was really behind us, and they are, as a club, I think, well, they are definitely behind us, and training at the same place that the boys train, like having more of our games now at the Stoop on a regular basis is really good, and like that is setting the bar for all the other Prem teams, within our Premiership, all the Prem teams to be like that and to align with their men's programme. And like we have like Tofty, he does some of our skill sessions, and like Billy, he does our back sessions like during the week, which I think is really good, and it's refreshing to have different coaches that are up to date and like coaching a Premiership side.
Yeah. Do you ever have to cross paths with Joe Marler?
No, but he actually
kept in a cage.
Yeah, he actually just smiles. He gets on well with Shauna actually. Shauna loves him.
I was going to say, who is the Quins ladies version of Joe Marler?
Yeah, Shauna's pretty weird.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a television show in there between.
She actually said it the other day. She said, "I really want a television show."
Right. And with Joe Marler, or she's just going solo from the off?
Solo on her own, and I was like, okay,
good.
That's interesting.
Is there a treatment or any themes that would, or just give her a camera and off she goes?
The life of Shauna Brown.
Good. Commissioning editors will be on the phone. Yeah, exactly.
We should get her on.
Okay. Go on then. So we're meeting up tomorrow at the Lensbury, is that right? Little WhatsApp group. Do people start getting into it early, or do you just turn up tomorrow?
No, just turn up tomorrow, really. Right. Yeah.
What are we expecting? What kind of messaging has come from Simon Middleton and,
they're going to be hard. The French are going to be hard because we've beaten them twice now. Well, if you count the last Six Nations 3 times quite consecutively, and we beat them in France, which is really hard to do, and we hadn't done for a very long time. So they're going to come at us, and they're going to want to, put their best foot forward to beat us, and I think everyone knows that it's sort of the toughest game of the Six Nations sort of thing, especially for the women's game. So it's sort of like a win or lose of the Six Nations. So I think we try not to get ahead of ourselves because it's not until Sunday. So I actually haven't really thought about it that much. I think I packed my bag before I came, and I was like, oh, I'm actually going into camp. Okay.
Do you get nervous? Are you somebody who sort of thinks about what's at stake, or do you just pop a pair of boots on and go and play?
Yeah, not really.
20 tries in 7 games. Jouer, yeah, exactly.
That was said in like a meeting, and they were like, and Mids was like, "Do you get nervous?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, you hide it very well." And I was like, "Oh, well, I've always been taught that like nerves are good, so I've never really allowed them to overcome." And I like playing at like big stadiums in front of like big crowds.
Where does France rank in the away trips? It looks from television that's the best. Yeah, it is. It's the best. They like the crowds there are fantastic. They always like fill out, and it's so loud, like you literally can't hear anything. Grenoble last year, wasn't it? Yeah. That looked mental. Yeah, it's a good stadium, that though, isn't it? Yeah, with the mountains and that. Yeah, my housemate was playing, and she was literally like, "Oh my." Who do you live with? Ellie Gooden. Oh, do you? Holly Aitchison. Very good. Do you get to have a? Is it quite professional straight after? Or do you get to have a little drink when you go out? Yeah, so obviously because it's a 12:30 kickoff, well, I think... It'll be a long drink. That's my dream. Oh, that's what you look for. So we love the 10 a.m. kickoff. Yeah, I think we get to like our family and friends get to come back to the hotel and just get to relax, which is quite nice. But yeah, obviously we're playing Scotland the next week, so not too heavy. At the end? Is there a blowout at the end? Yes. Dare I ask? Well, it's just fun. Good. It's nice, yeah. Keep your cards close to your chest. Do you run the show as the student? Yes. No, student union card always behind me. Shoes off. Yeah, exactly. Shoes off. No, they actually come at us because they think that we can handle it. When actually I'm not actually a normal student. Right. I'm just getting a degree. I'm not someone that goes out every Wednesday night. Can I ask you about the pressure of it? So obviously we were discussing this ridiculous strike rate that you've got, and I suppose this amazing start to your career. Do you feel a sort of pressure that, I mean, you've achieved so much so quickly? Is that something you're conscious of, or are you quite sort of relaxed about? Yeah, no, I think I am quite conscious. But I told myself not. I used to basically have this fear of if I hadn't scored a try in a game, I've played rubbish. Right. And I was like, why did I ever think like that? And because my other parts of my game weren't that great, I've developed them. So now I think actually, if I've made a good tackle or made good defensive reads or I've passed a ball, that's a positive, and it shouldn't just be about the tries. But I used to put loads of pressure on scoring tries. Wingers. That is wingers. That is wingers. Yeah. Used to have a winger who literally, he'd play amazing, but he wouldn't score. And he's like, I haven't scored for 3 games, I'm going to get dropped. It's actually quite heartbreaking
That's your job, isn't it? At the end of the day, like
you're scoring 3 tries a game at the moment. I think you've got a little bit of credit in the bank.
International,
20 and 8.
But it's not. That's the thing, is that you could create every other try for someone else, for your other winger on the other side.
But I think that's what I've developed in my game. So now I look at it like, I've actually put the other winger away.
Have you always been a winger? Were you ever?
Yeah. I used to play 10 for my club when I was like 17, but that's because no one else could pass. And my dad was like, just go in there, pass the ball. If you see a gap, run. If not, just pass.
Right.
But
were you scoring tries for fun at that level? Go on. What's the most number of tries you scored in a season?
I actually couldn't tell.
The clock. They went through 99 and they didn't have a third digit.
No, I actually never counted. Like, I think because my dad was my coach, he didn't want to have that like favoritism aspect to it. So, and he would always just brush them off.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, oh, well done.
Was he quite a big factor in you getting into rugby?
Yeah,
what was his rugby story?
Yeah, so he played for our local team, played for the first team, played county.
What position was he?
Winger.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Runs in the family.
Fast twitch.
Yeah.
Fastest fibres.
But my brother played 10, actually. He was quite a decision maker, which was odd.
Yeah.
But,
Right. Is he generally not?
I don't know your brother. Is that a personal thing? Or?
we can't make a decision.
You do not make a decision.
He actually can't. I phoned him the other day. I was with his fiance and I was like, and he phoned me and he was like, he said to me, what are we having for dinner? And I was like, can't you make a decision? You're 24 years old. Why are you asking your fiance what you're having for dinner? Can't you? And he was like, I don't want to get it wrong. And I was like,
sounds like the perfect chef. Just lets everyone else around him.
Still a bit like that at 40.
Yeah. I can't even cook, so I wouldn't be asking. So sort of expectations internally. Is anything but a Grand Slam now for England disappointing?
I would think so, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think
that's where you're now placing it.
We want to go like back to back, and I think it'll put us in a really good place going into like obviously next year with the World Cup.
Are you talking World Cup already? I know everyone says one game at a time and we'll take it a week at a time.
No, yeah, we are.
Are you talking bigger picture? Yeah.
It's in everyone's head, and it will come round so much quicker than we think it will.
Very, very quickly.
And you've got to play like the systems in our structure, and you've got to get settled as a team like now, not maybe like 5 weeks before. So we have to be ready and speaking about it now, so that when it comes, you're not like, oh God, it's there. And you've actually prepared yourself.
So will you use this Six Nations for sort of World Cup planning? Will there be scenarios, and does Simon put you under stress at various points of it? See how you react?
Not to an extent, no, but as in we probably might have to play some of these teams in our pool as such, or similar teams. So in that sense, it'll put us in a good place. But I think because obviously we've still got another Six Nations before the World Cup, he might end up doing scenario-based stuff a bit more, and like mixing the team up maybe if someone's injured or if someone's like ill or whatever. Yeah.
Give us a bit of insight into the people in the squad. Who is the noisiest?
Noisiest? Probably like Poppy, Cleo and Hannah Bottom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Marley? Is Marley noisy?
Yeah.
Marley's not there at the moment, is she?
No.
Will she be missed?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like our governor. So we have.
She is the governor.
She is
Governor-ess.
Yeah. But she's put her duties down to Sarah McKenna.
Right.
Which is good. We had like a penalty shootout last week at training, and it was actually quite fun. I'm not sure if it's ever going to come out, but I definitely didn't get it in the goal.
Right.
But I saved one, which was really good.
We're talking football penalty shootout?
Yeah, football penalty shootout.
Nice.
And I've never been good at football in my life.
Right.
Ever.
You missed the penalty, but you saved one. Good.
You scored when he tries off chips?
No. Have you ever seen me kick the ball?
Well, no. Me too,
there's room for improvement. Who's
coaching?
There you are. Where were Jacob Stockdale? Messiest?
Messiest? Oh.
Who's forgetting their belongings and never quite where they need to be at the right time?
Kelly Smith actually forgets quite a lot of her stuff, but actually our physio forgets her like jumper all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if I forgets a kid.
I've forgotten that could be a problem. Yes, that's not terribly helpful. Who is the most particular? Who's like superstitious and has to have things exactly as they need it?
Oh, so in the changing room, I'm normally next to Skaz, like on a game day, and she brings this massive bag. Like, I just have my rucksack, that's it, like a holdall bag. And I say to her every time, what have you got in there? She's like, everything that you'll ever need. And I'm like... She's elite, though. Yeah, and she'll get her slides out, and her shirt, and her towel, and her wash bags. And I just literally look at her, and I'm like, one day, maybe, one day I'll be like that. But
backpack. You're probably like a bum bag, isn't she?
Yeah, backpack.
Jason Leonard used to turn up with a rucksack that didn't seem to fit anything in it, but he always managed to get it in there.
Because his boots were tiny.
Yeah.
But then you'll go to her and you'll be like, oh, do you have this? And she'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, fine. I know if I don't have it, you're going to have it, so it's fine.
Superstitions? Anyone in the team got really odd superstitions?
Some people like to sit certain places on the bus, like on game day, and like headphones. But I don't think anyone's like, I've never seen anyone like stress or like break into tears because they haven't like got something.
Okay. Who is the agony aunt? Who's the one that sorts out the problems?
Mo, yeah. She loves it.
Does she?
So she loves it. She's always like, "Do you want to cuddle?" And I'm like, "Okay."
I like that. Everyone needs a Tash in the team. Okay, cool. And sort of, I suppose, just a quick kind of final thoughts in terms of the first game, obviously as the big one, and then it's Italy actually, and it's worth mentioning they've improved a huge amount. No.
Scotland.
They follow us, don't they?
Yes, they do. Of course they do. Take two. Italy's the final game. But I mean, what do you see as the big challenges?
I think Ireland will be a big challenge. I think if they are on their game and on form, they'll definitely bring it to us. And I think any team really. I think we have to go out there and push them to the limits for them not to be at their best, like at any team. But yeah, Italy away in Italy, last game, like it might, if we do lose this Sunday, it might actually, we might have to win by like a certain amount of points. That will put extra like pressure on us to like win the Six Nations, obviously not to get the Grand Slam.
But quietly confident.
Yeah, you have to be, don't you?
Yeah. Good luck.
Thank you
for coming. You're going to stay and play our. You happy to stay and play our game?
What is the game?
It's the Guinness Match Point Predictor League, which is well worth mentioning. Actually, we did this during the World Cup.
Don't have a choice, do I?
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You've got your seatbelt on. You can't go anywhere. So we are going to introduce our friends at House of Rugby to our new game, which is going to replace the perfect pool during the Six Nations. The game is our Match Point Guinness Pint Predictor League, which is easier to say before your Guinness than after. It is very simple.
Shouldn't you learn your lines? Shouldn't you learn your lines?
Right. Thank you very much indeed. Jess, for one and only appearance on House of Rugby.
Jess, you're welcome.
You are now free to go.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I like to make it just an authentic kind of experience.
That's fine.
Do you want to do it?
No.
Okay, right.
No way.
Perfect. So,
Yeah, sorry, back to it.
Back to reading the lines that I was meant to have learned. It's a very simple game. Take on your mates. More importantly, you can play against us, and you enter the league code HOR by downloading the app, which is the Match Point Guinness Point Predictor, and then enter the league code HOR. Jess is going to join us, aren't you? Actually, you're probably not allowed to for logistical reasons, but you're very welcome if you'd like to. Here's what you need to do.
Great.
Predict the score margin. If you get it bang on, you win a pint of Guinness immediately. If you're correct within 3, you win a pint for yourself that can be claimed the following Monday to Friday. And if you get the margin right within 7, you'll win a giftable Guinness to send to someone else. Is that clear?
Straight away? What do you mean by straight away?
Like literally you can go straight to the bar and drink a pint of Guinness on the house. Am I doing this correctly? Are people following me? Yeah? So get it bang on, you get a free pint of Guinness, drink whenever you like. Get it within 3 and you
what
can
if
have
I'm at my house?
You're making this quite complicated, Jess. It's very, very simple.
You go to
then you go to a pub.
Right.
Yeah. Probably with your ID.
Okay,
your age, sadly, but the rest of us will be welcome warmly. If you're within 3, you get a pint for yourself that you can drink Monday to Friday. And if you're within 7, you get to gift a Guinness. And you can do that via the app. Good. Moving swiftly on. If you're top of the overall table at the end of each round, you'll win a Guinness Six Nations tickets.
Whoa.
That's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Little ooh from the crowd. Do check out our prizes tab in the league to see what we're offering to the winner of each round. Special prizes like Stash, which is very nice. Tins has donated. Or live pod tickets for ours and other pods are available at each round of games. So, download the Match Point Predictor Guinness app. Enter HOR and get involved. Yeah. T's and C's may apply. If that hasn't put you off, I don't know what will. It's genuinely very easy. It's really good fun. You will inevitably beat all of the legends who are in there.
Yeah, I guarantee you'll beat me.
Hask is, I think, still on 0, having been playing for many years. Tins, you're quite rogue. You're quite sort of scattergun in your approaches.
Yeah.
Italy by 20. And
I go for what I want to happen rather than what will actually happen.
Yeah.
Which last year meant Ireland losing a lot.
Yes.
Which they didn't. They scraped some victories.
In short, it's great fun. Download the Matchpoint app from the App Store, set your score predictions, you'll win loads of prizes. It's a hoot. You're not allowed to predict what's going to happen in the Women's Six Nations, apparently. So you're going to predict what's going to happen in the Men's Six Nations. Are you allowed to do that? Good. Predictions for this weekend. Round 1 of the Guinness Six Nations, which begins on Saturday. Defending champions Wales taking on Italy.
every game. Sorry.
It was only 3.
Yeah, but I thought it was just going to be the English game. Sorry.
It's round 1. Wales, Italy. Let's have a score prediction, and then we'll enter them into the league, and people can play against it. Wales against Italy at the Principality Stadium. First game for Wayne Pivot. I'm going to come to you first of all.
34-6.
Very particular. I like that.
Well, you have to be particular. That's the whole point of the game.
Yes, that's very true. Well done for being very particular in this particular game. Yes.
26. 12.
26-12.
Also,
that's very good because Wales will start slowly. I like that.
And I also think you have to actually think of the numbers, don't you? Because sometimes you can't actually have numbers, can you?
I know what you're saying. You can't actually get to that number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you couldn't say 2.
We can get to every number.
I might go for it.
33-2.
You can get to every number after 5, though, can't you? Yes.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
We got breaking news here. You can get to any number after 5. I'm going to...
Yeah, I reckon you might be right.
Tinsy, you're actually thinking this through.
I think you're right.
Yeah, okay. Good. So don't think about it too long.
Yeah, sorry.
Anything over 5 and you're away. Wales, Italy, Tins.
I'm going to go 48-11 to Wales.
Okay, I like that. Apparently I've got to do mine as well, which I haven't put a lot of thought in. I'm going to go 52-16.
Wow.
Generous to Italy.
Do you think? No, because there'll be a trial to there. Ireland against Scotland. Who's going to go first?
33-12.
Wow. Okay.
Someone just fell off the chair.
Ireland, Scotland.
I think he'd be Scottish.
33-4.
No. 42.
Ooh, hello.
Ooh, stop it.
10.
Okay, 42-10.
Smashing.
I'm not sure how popular it'll be north of the border off the back of that.
What are you doing
good.
here?
I'm just having a look at the bookies, see what they're saying.
What have they got spread as?
Ireland are -13.
Okay.
I think it'll be more than that. I think it's going to be 26-10.
26-10. I'm going to do 32-18. With absolutely no thought at all. France against England. Jess. I'm liking the thought.
I'm just seeing my
trying to
train.
think.
Oh, Christ, come on. Hey, you're right. We'll start the car for 10.
24. 22.
20, to France.
No, sorry, to England.
22-24. That was what it was a few years ago. Tom.
I'll go 18-20.
18-20. Tins.
Everyone's fancying 2 points. Let me just see what the bookies are saying.
And now he's slowing it down.
I think that's actually...
You're the one that needs to go.
Yeah, surely it needs to be off the top of your head.
I'm going to go...
4 points. England.
Yeah, I'm going to go 18-26.
18-26. I'm going to go 15-30. Big in the win. What are we doing with that, Si? Is that just for those who find it interesting?
We have to play those numbers now.
Is that we doing anything with that? No, just for fun. I'm glad we took so long over that.
Just to make me miss my train.
Jess, thank you so much for coming and making yourself very at home and issuing the handouts to those of us who like to make a living out of
We'll be very disappointed if the 3 tries a match doesn't continue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Can we have a quick spread bet on the number of tries you're going to have? What is Jess Breach tries Six Nations 2020?
Last year I got 9.
You got 9. Quick prediction on
11.
13. If you don't score 13 tries, frankly, you're letting yourself down this year.
I was going to go more 15. I think.
Wow!
Jesus Christ! All right.
Wow!
I think the team's going to be on fire, and you're going to be the beneficiary.
Good luck.
Thank
Will
you
you come back and see us afterwards?
Yeah, of course.
Good. Please do. Send our very best to all the squad. Hope it goes well.
Thank you.
And go get them.
Thanks.
That is it for this week. Tins has got a train to catch. I need to read this very quickly. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to House of Rugby, brought to you by Joe together with our friends at Guinness, a YouTube show and a podcast. Don't forget Liquid Football with Kelly Cates and the team every Monday, and the TKO special with Tommy Coyle. Very emotional on that as he announces his retirement. Plus, we've got a Facebook group for chat and merchandise. Please sign up and join the conversation. T-shirts are available. We've got new T-shirts coming, Tins.
Whoa.
Including one for you. Thank you, Mike.
Where's Zoe?
Tom. And Zoe, yes. And to Zoe, your run.
Yeah.
Quickly, you've got 5 seconds.
150 miles around London.
Yeah.
London Loop for Doddy Weir's Foundation.
Good man.
And Teenage Cancer Trust. And I'm going to split it between Doddy Weir and Rob Burrow.
Oh, good man.
So anyone that either fancies joining the run
yeah.
or donating, which would be amazing.
We'll put a link in our
Put a link on that.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Are you just giving or?
I'm on Virgin
Money.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay, we'll stick that on the thing. When are you doing it?
Start March 2nd. I finish March the 7th.
Jesus, good luck.
It's a long way on two tiny little pins.
That is very true.
They are very short.
I'll do a mile. We've got a live show next week in London. Fear not, we will be heading out of London towards the end of the Six Nations, apparently. Look out Wales is all I'll say. I didn't know that, but look out Wales. Because of that, though, the show is going to be available a day later than usual next week, so we'll be with you on Thursday. Very important, the ticket details... very important, the ticket deal...
Sorry.
Start.
That's when he's...
Very important, the ticket details for next week will be on the House of Rugby Facebook page. See you in 8 days. Good luck, Jessica. Get them. Go and get your train. Thank you. Goodbye.
You've been watching the House of Rugby on Joe, together with Guinness. Drink responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk for the facts.